sit up on the other side?
Sure you can. Kelly's here. Where's Kelly?
What?
Kelly's here somewhere.
Hey, Ken.
What's up?
I'm late.
You are late.
Can I sit up over there?
On the other side. Because that's
Right there.
one.
Look at your chair. Hey, is you okay?
Thank you for asking.
I gotta state my claim.
So, I'm gonna be on lobby 6, but, yeah, I'm not up yet on that because I'm doing this, yeah, so I'm over at the house. All right, so there's a cuts position, and this label. So red look for room 4 in the house studio A. And I'll give you a picture. Yeah, I mean, because there's probably gonna be a lot of people in here. I mean, again, it's not fiber, no. It's copper, so it's a home run back to our shop. So if we need to get either Ryan or Wes on the phone to. Yeah, look at you. You see it? You see it? You see the shot? Look at you, boy. Look at you, boy. You are one, two, testing, say what I'm gonna say. Yeah, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. You know that Denzel. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Beautiful. See, that wouldn't happen after 10 o'clock. They called me and that wouldn't happen after 10 o'clock. Mic check, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, level, check, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, mic check, testing, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is the one.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
I recognize this one.
Check, mic check, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2.
You do?
I don't recognize this one, no.
All right, bro. Thank you.
That's
Testing, 1, 2. Yeah, we'll switch it up after I leave here. Yeah, very cool. All right, thank you. Is this you, Ian? No.
That's me.
What'd she say? She said no? Hey, don't talk to me like that, son. Hey, man, what's wrong with you? Come, boy. Make yourself scarce, boy. What, you talk to me? Hey, leave that alone, boy. What you doing?
Oh, that's
Hello? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm at the cuts position. Oh, you know what?
okay.
1 second. I'm at the cuts position at Studio A.
Well, no, that's why I don't. I
Hello, Paige.
Testing 5, do you hear the microphone? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, testing 1, 2. 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. No, this is not cool. This is original Scott cuts. But they should be, yeah, okay, what phrasing was it again?
What's been listening to this conversation?
Oh, C hub 5.
Will they let us get cuts from that? No, never.
Just
discussion.
All right, thank you.
This is Carnival from
And,
DC. Oh, good.
You don't have to stand just looking at me, you don't want the flash. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I don't see it.
No, it's not. This is as cheap as a wireless setup you can get. These triggers are like compound triggers. They're $30 each.
So for your, for outside, go into your spreadsheet that I send you, the link that you have, and just update your info, and let me know when it's updated, and I'll print out your new permits. Same process as always.
Real cheap. Free light setup.
Yes, because we are two totally separate entities. Yep. You're welcome. Okay. Bye. Are you guys good with the white? Everybody? Drake, you good with the white balance? Rick, you good? Do you need white? Okay. Okay, take your time.
It's Monday, I don't. Yeah.
Your back pad is, I mean, this was right. Oh, they do?
Oh, shit. I wonder where that is. Thank you, Kenzie.
You're welcome. Need a mic check?
Kenzie, why can't we shoot from over there?
Because this is where members come in, so we keep this area clear because they come in from the green room, so everybody needs to be on that side.
Once it starts, I'll have it.
This you, bro?
Oh, do you have any?
I do.
Just a little bit.
Wait, say it again.
These ones here?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So nobody trips over you. Thank you, sir.
I've actually got a couple of different ones now.
Oh, Rick, were you good on mic? Do you need a mic? Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Today is Monday, November 11th or 10th. You're welcome.
Hey. Good.
Even that.
Well, then I can see it getting tangled up and not be able to get it untangled.
No, look how mine, it doesn't affect those.
Oh, I see.
So that's gonna be.
If I, yeah, that is a thing. But I don't. Yeah, Johnson went here, so I'm like,
Yeah. Things are changing. I was out April when
well, you know, he did the Rayburn for a bunch of days.
he only did that for a while. So, you ever heard of sandbagging? Probably.
Yeah, but it's,
At least it's here. The last time I
they
had
made
it.
it look good.
I haven't got a handle load up here.
It's because they would have had to get permission.
$5 a pop or something.
Yeah, they would have had to get permission.
I've already did.
I just redid this bank.
1901. I was thinking I'd do a 5x7 print of one, and then I realized how many there were.
Do you have that certificate in your spreadsheet?
Well, yeah. Is it, well, if it's like those exchange, we're supposed to spend 30 minutes.
Well, here's how my older brother for the last few years. My brother and the three of us wore the same gift. He never brought anything. So I said, hey, we don't want to do this.
Yeah, because then what happens, you set a stick, so you can bring out the next time.
Right, right, right. I've kind of kept up with it, but like that's on snap. Or it's on footer. Looks like it's built up on a footer with foundation walls.
Hello, man. You got a second to help me out with a quick little live view dance?
Yes.
Oh, shit, I ain't. Oh, you got me now?
Roughly.
It's Bruno at
Yeah.
Studio A.
I'll call you back.
Circuit 911.
Hey, man.
No, she's a first.
Let me give you a quick audio check. This is gonna be, what's her name?
Yeah.
Aisha.
I don't know.
Hello, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Cool. I'm all set up for it. Yeah. Is he okay doing IP for this phone?
No,
Great.
done?
Very good. Thanks, man.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that wasn't what.
How about now? You got me? Right. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick little live view dance here. So once we're done with this press, I'm gonna run Manu's live shots off this this cuts cam in Studio A. It's a hidden decoder 106. All right, so then I just correct. I just got a call from Allie Main saying he's planning on being here. So he'll dial in on his phone, and it sounds like we're gonna do it from my cuts camera here. And then once that's done, I'm gonna power down this light here.
Yeah, we got the bug to get up there and get a place.
Yeah, mine is Mike's. Mine is Mike's. Let me give you a sound check. Monte Roger, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Monte Roger, mic check. All right. Sweet. Thanks, man.
Young buck.
I know, right? Yes.
Yes.
Exactly right. No, no. Tell them.
Oh, speaking of, did you run to Brian?
I keep in touch with Pat, do you? I said, I keep in touch about him, do you?
I bought the, that's how I got my soccer set about 2 years ago. Oh, wow.
Okay. So way down.
How you doing? Good, good. So did they tell you?
Yeah, Monte's here now.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Just on the other side of Monte.
Okay.
Right. I wasn't there last year. This is my second year.
That's quiet.
Oh, last year I had to work the election. And this year, I didn't want to get stuck in the whole plan. I ended up doing some.
So what do you want me to stand?
You can stand right in your chair if you want to, man, and we can roll straight.
Well, the problem is that people may be walking and. How do you know, like,
Hey.
orders are coming in, then they get the shot, I'm
Hey,
like.
me too. I can work. Talk to you later. Bye. Yeah, bye.
I could also just stand right up here, and then when he comes, I'll be like, all right, he's here, and I'll just walk down. I'm here that way.
What's your
I don't know if I'm gonna pick up this entire first row.
Brooks, you need us to move?
No, I like you there.
Yeah, you wanna get us up? No problem.
That's it.
Or one of those?
Is it? Long call? Yeah. TX transfer.
Does it? Good morning.
They don't,
Saying, Dave, can you check the plug? JJ, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Oh, oh.
Right down.
Oh, I thought you got changed. Hey, I had changed.
For a couple hours.
Your chair.
Guys, green room.
Katie sees me.
Well, like every time I do.
No, no, Tim Kitt was in the studio for two.
Hey, controller?
Today's
You guys just flag in, sounds like, Speaker Johnson.
Right down the line.
253, excuse me. 253.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm gonna put this on my chip. Okay, that's okay. I may not even be able to go to it because the speaker might be right on time, so. feels like it's going late. But basically, when the speaker comes, I'm just gonna be like, speaker here, and I'll just. Yeah. That's actually 125,000 jobs.
There's a provision period in this that would outlaw
Yeah. It feels like this.
Dave, make sure you give me a shot. Brooke, make sure you give me a shot.
Be sure to like react. We're gonna shake your hand.
Okay, that's one of the questions we'll ask the speaker and talk to reporters here because the podium behind me in just a matter of minutes. He has advised the House that it will come back within 36 hours after the Senate acts, or the House has been out of session since September 19th amid this standoff. But the first big question is when the Senate will give final passage to this bill, which cleared a key procedural hurdle last night by the narrowest of margins, with 60 votes, 8 Democrats voting in favor of advancing this package. But in order to get to a final vote, it would require all 100 senators to actually agree to schedule that vote. So that could take some time, which also could mean that this could push reopening the government till sometime perhaps in the middle of the week, maybe a little bit later. That is a key question. Also, the political fallout of all of this. We're seeing a lot of pushback on the left flank of the House and Senate Democratic caucus. Other Democrats who believe the deal that was ultimately cut was not sufficient because what Democrats who voted for this bill ultimately agreed to was not to include an extension of those expiring Obamacare subsidies as part of this funding package. Instead, they agreed to a standalone vote, a separate vote on this issue. They got a commitment from the Republican leader in the Senate to have a vote on that by the second week of December. I caught up with Senator Tim Kaine, one of those 8 Democrats who voted for this plan, and I asked him whether or not he believed the shutdown fight was worth it.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very thankful to see you all this morning. I'm thankful to welcome you to what appears to be the beginning of the end of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, as shameful as that is. I don't think it's coincidental, you know how I think, but it's after 40 days of wandering in the wilderness and making the American people suffer needlessly, some Senate Democrats finally have stepped forward to end the pain. It appears to us this morning that our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end, and we're grateful for that. At least some Democrats now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hardworking American people have been asking them to do for weeks. But as we said from the beginning, the people's government cannot be held hostage to further anyone's political agenda. That was never right. And shutting down the government never produces anything. It never has, if you study history. And so here we are. I want to remind everybody this morning of another critical point that you've heard me here repeat over and over the last several weeks. It's something that I and Leader John Thune and President Trump and every Republican leader have all said repeatedly from the beginning. We have always been open to finding solutions to reduce the oppressive costs of health care under the Unaffordable Care Act. We just made clear that we would not and should not ever do that, that is, negotiate as hostages. And I've also reminded you here every morning at this press conference throughout the shutdown, Republicans have not just been talking about reducing costs and fraud and abuse in so many areas and in healthcare, we've been actually passing new laws to accomplish that urgent mission for the people, and we will continue to do so. So here's where we are by way of schedule, just so you know, you're following. And if you're not at home, if you're waking up to this good news this morning, the Senate's vote late last night of 60 to 40 opens the door now. The Senate is moving forward on an amended House CR, a continuing resolution, that will reopen the government until January 30th. Added to that are provisions to fully fund SNAP provisions through the end of the next fiscal year, which is September 2026. Guaranteed back pay for all federal workers who have been made to endure these hardships over the last several weeks. And it also includes passage of 3 appropriations bills, which we're grateful to be moving through the process. That is the Military Construction Veterans Affairs bill, it's the Agriculture bill, and the Legislative Branch bill. The Senate will be back in session this morning to finish their job, and we're certainly praying that they do. They'll need unanimous consent from all senators to fast-track their final vote. As you know, there are some procedural hurdles that one or more could throw in the way, but we certainly hope that they won't do that because so many people across this country are desperate for the government to reopen. At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice so that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the President's desk. As you all know, and he said as recently as last night, I was with him, and he told the press, he said, we want to get the government open. He's very anxious to get the government reopened and to end the Schumer shutdown. We all are. With regard to the travel challenges, I spoke yesterday at some length with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, my former colleague and good friend, and he lamented the serious situation that we have with air travel in the U.S. He's bent over backwards, as all members of the administration and the cabinet have done in all of their areas of jurisdiction, to try to keep the government working for the people and to mitigate the pain and the harm. But the problem we have with air travel is that our air traffic controllers are overworked and unpaid, and many of them have called in sick. That's a very stressful job, and even more stressful exponentially when they're having trouble providing for their families. And so air travel has been grinding to a halt in many places. And as of Sunday, nearly half of all domestic flights and U.S. flights were either canceled or delayed. And it's a very serious situation. So I'm saying that by way of reminder. I'm stating the obvious to all my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats in the House. You need to begin right now returning to the Hill. We have to do this as quickly as possible. Now, we look forward to the government reopening this week so Congress can get back to our regular legislative session. We have a lot of business to do, as you all know, and we will be working in earnest. There'll be long days and long nights here for the foreseeable future to make up for all this lost time that was imposed upon us. I want to close with something that's important. I think it's important to say that this is genuine. I mean this sincerely. We applaud the 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent senator who did the right thing. They decided to put principle over their personal politics. And my urgent plea of all my colleagues in the House, and that means every Democrat in the House, is to think carefully, pray, and finally do the right thing and help us to bring an end to the pain of the American people. This has gone on too long. Too many people have suffered, and it's long overdue. That's the update I wanted to give you this morning. There are probably lots of questions, but I'm going to get a lot of my own questions answered later today, so stay tuned for more. Thanks so much.
Questions about what's happening.
Would you bring the ACA bill to the House floor if it passes? Speaker Johnson.
Yeah, I think so.
Come back, answer questions? Alrighty.
Well, great question. I think you probably can weigh in on exactly. I don't think we can.
Sorry, to hear you. You don't like that?
I mean, I tried to follow you, but everybody was up, so I lost.
But you can hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then went out that way. Went out the long way. He said, I'm gonna let you see me leave. Out the long way. Straight down there. You lost your focus. What's he doing? So, oh well. Yes, sir. Well,
Maybe if you'd pay attention, you wouldn't lose your focus. You got it?
no, sir, never that, never that. That was Taylor.